Hey guys, Hardwick here at OPEX Fitness, and today I'm going to walk you guys through the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are prioritizing, planning, and periodizing. The 3 Ps are fundamentals of program design. Before we get into priorities, specifically I want to walk you guys through the avatar and introduce you to our CrossFitter and their goals. So we have a 25-year-old female. She's 5'4", she's 140 pounds. Her goals are to get better from the 2019 to the 2020 Open. Something that we have to remember is the 2019 and 2020 Open are only months apart. So the 2019 Open was back in February 2019, and the 2020 Open is in October of 2019. So just for some context on how tight this schedule is and how we're going to walk you guys through the periodization and the increases in intensity and volume over that time. In 2019, she was 700 worldwide. The goal in 2020 is to be top 500. Walking you guys through the assessment data, so we didn't see any movement deficiencies. We didn't see any structural balance deficiencies. Her 10-minute air bike score was 152 calories, and that's going to be 379 calories body weight adjusted. And then just for some context there as well, that's a very good score. 30-30 row. So what that test is we throw an athlete on the rower, we say row 30 seconds as hard as you can, rest 30 seconds, and do that 4 times. And the goal is max effort every single set. Her scores were 166, 157, 142, and 139 meters. So what that tells us is top end power is very good. So she's good there, but she falls off pretty drastically going down to 139 meters. So that tells us that she's not sustaining over those sets. 5K row, she's 22:34, a little bit slower than we would like to see in this level of an athlete. Clean and snatch, she's 195 pounds clean, 175 pound snatch. Her back squat plus NME, so she has a 285 pound back squat and she executed 11 reps at 85% of that 1 rep max. Her unbroken muscle ups, and then the 34 times, she went 18 unbroken, and she went 2 minutes and 59 seconds for 30 muscle ups in total. Contextually, 18 is great. What we're looking for is 10% of body weight. So relative to her, we're looking for at least 14 unbroken reps, so she's good to go there. Unbroken strict handstand push-ups, she's 14 reps, and 5-minute AMRAP strict handstand push-ups, she's 42 reps. So both of those scores are lower than what we want to see, and that takes us to our priorities. So priorities, we want to increase performance on the rower. So relative to the rower, we want to increase anaerobic power, and we want to increase sustainability, and we're going to do that in a long to short method. We want to increase her clean absolute strength or her clean 1 rep max, because that's just a little bit low when we look at characteristics within the open. And females are often asked to clean 205 pounds, and she can't do that fresh, so she's not going to be able to do that under fatigue. So that's going to be a priority for her. And then we want to increase her 5-minute strict handstand push-up test. So increase relative to her would just mean we want to decrease that score, and we want to increase her max unbroken reps. Periodize. All right, now transitioning to her plan and walking through nuances of what we considered when building that plan. So she has 8 training sessions per week that we have available. So what does that mean? We're going to have some AM/PM splits. We're going to train on Saturdays, Sundays sometimes. Her training schedule is open as needed. So we can make adjustments throughout the training cycle if we're seeing a high-low method isn't working, for instance, where on one day the volume is really high, on the next day the volume is really low, and then we just use that model across time. If we see that she has some availability to go high, and we can fit some more intensity or volume within a training week, her Monday through Sunday is completely open for us to manipulate that. Obviously, we're peaking for the 2020 Open, and that's apparent in her goals, where she wants to improve from the 2019 to the 2020 Open. Training blocks will be traditional volume to intensity in nature. So all that means is if we're in a volume block, we're going from volume to intensity over that 4, 6, 8 weeks. If we're in an intensification block, we're doing the exact same thing. We're going from volume to intensity within that training cycle. All right, now we're going to jump into the periodization of her program. As you can see, we're starting the plan or the build on April 8th, and we're going all the way to the Open, which is October 11th. Just kind of connecting back to the priorities and things that we're working on, we can kind of break this down and reverse engineer what characteristics are going to be within each training cycle. So if we were just to write the priorities on the board, let's just say improve row, and then we'll just talk specifically about increasing 5K score. And based on what is inside of an accumulation phase, that's where we would start that build. So just understanding what accumulation is, just think of a lot of volume, a lot of skill building, and very low intensity. And then when we talk about intensification phase, just kind of flip that upside down, and the volume is really low, intensity is really high, movement is really fast. So it kind of, when you hear the word intensification, it kind of speaks for itself what's inside of that. Rolling through, another goal for her, or priority, was increasing clean. So if we're to connect that to an accumulation phase, like I just said, intensification or intensity is really low. So what's in there relative to the clean? It's skill building, right? So you may have A would be some high hang squat cleans. A could be every minute on the minute, one clean at 70% of 1 RM. So you can kind of see that that's sustainable across a long period of time, and she's not really digging deep intensification-wise. So that could go, the skill building characteristics or aspects of the training program would go in accumulation, and then once we get to intensification, that's when we're starting to hit percentage work. That's when intensity is really high, and we're pushing the envelope to actually try to increase that clean 1 RM. Going down, if we look at another priority for her, it was to increase or improve handstand push-up, max unbroken, plus 5 minute. And then if we connect this to accumulation phases, it's the same conversation that we had in Accumulation 1. And obviously we would start the build in Accumulation 1, but as we kind of get down in time, Accumulation 1 versus Accumulation 2, maybe in Accumulation 1 we notice that she has some technical deficiencies in her handstand push-up, and we're just working on those, and we're drilling skills, and we're keeping intensity really low, and we're keeping her CNS really fresh in Accumulation 1. Then when we get to Intensification 1, depending on how she progressed over that amount of time, now we're starting to put those in aerobic scenarios. When we get to Accumulation 2 and then into simulation, maybe that's in an anaerobic scenario. So we're putting her through situations like she would see in the Open in October. So just kind of walking through accumulation to intensification to, we'll see some deloads in between, simulation, pre-competition, taper, and competition. Look at this simulation as almost like it's a testing couple weeks essentially. So what we would do here is we would take her through 2 weeks, and we would go, if the plan is during the Open, if the plan is to go every Friday and Monday, we're going to execute an Open workout. In the simulation phase, we're going to do that, right? We may increase intensity and volume and go 2 Open workouts on a Friday, 2 Open workouts on a Monday. Do that for 2 weeks, and it kind of pulls the wool away from our eyes and shows us, like, is all of the work that we've done in this time, is it actually preparing her to get to that competition phase? And it is what it sounds like. It's a simulation. So if we see something wrong or something that we have to shore up, now we have this amount of time to fix it, instead of figuring this out in the taper or in the competition phase where it's just too late and we just have to figure it out. Then going down into pre-competition, look at that as intensification. So we have Intensification 1 here. Simulation, we would call that Intensification 2. And then pre-competition, we would call that Intensification 3. So pre-competition, we're going a few weeks, so 3 to 5 weeks, because the Open is 5 weeks. So let's go 3 to 5 weeks where we're going that Friday, Monday, we're doing 1 Open workout. On that Friday, we're doing 1 on that Monday. And then all of the work around that, it's just to increase readiness for Friday and Monday. So we're not trying to improve anything specifically, because we've already done that in the training program before. So we're in that pre-comp phase and we're just increasing readiness, whatever that means to your client. So some clients, they'll need a lot of volume and they'll need no taper to a very short taper, and they feel really good going into a competition. And then you have some clients that, they're inverse, where it's like you can't really push the envelope with them because once they get there, it's really hard to come back, and you need a big taper period to get them ready. So it just kind of depends on who you're working with. For her specifically, we did a really quick taper, right? So we're going to taper from the Monday to the Wednesday of the week of the Open, and then we're right into the competition phase for 5 weeks. And the competition phase, characteristically, is going to look exactly the same as the pre-competition phase, where we're doing one open workout on Friday, one open work on Monday, and all of the work around that is to increase readiness.